Resolutions suck. And there's a reason that the gyms are empty come March, that all of the money goals that we set are completely forgotten by the second quarter, and all of our eating habits and the things that we were aspirational about in December or at the beginning of January are completely forgotten and worthless by the time March, April, May comes around. Is because there's no system to support it. I'm going to walk you through the process that I use to set the right goals, build the system, actually execute, and make sure that year over year, I'm constantly improving and compounding on my gains. Let's dive in. Hey, what's up? I'm Ray Green, former executive turned nomad entrepreneur. I just wrapped up my year-end planning where I set my goals, I build my system, and I get everything ready to make sure that when I go into this new year and end of the year exactly as I predicted. Now, the process that I personally use is basically 5 parts. And the first part is what I call gains. And I spend time reflecting on the gains from the prior year because as entrepreneurs, we tend to be really focused on what's ahead of us. We tend to be focused on what Dan Sullivan, the business coach, calls the gap, right? It's the gap between where we are today and where we want to be and where we want to go tomorrow. That helps drive us. That helps keep us focused. It helps keep us ambitious and driven. But it also means that we oftentimes discount the progress that we've already made, the work that we've already put in, and the progress that we've already made towards the goals. And it's just a reframe on your mindset to think about before you get into what I want to accomplish this year, to look back and say, what did I already accomplish this year? Every single person has gains. You have things that you've accomplished this year. You have wins, you have, goals that you beat, whatever it is. And taking the time to really reflect on that not only helps you in the planning process because it puts you in the right frame of mind, but it also keeps you from burning out, right? Like if you're always focused on what you've got to do and never really focused on how much you've already done, it's really easy to lose energy, to lose your focus, to lose your give a shit, frankly. So I spend time kicking off this process by first focusing on what are my gains? Are there new channels that I developed in business? Are there new relationships that I developed, personal or professional, that are doing well today? Are there goals that I hit? I look back at the plan from last year. Did I hit all of the goals that I wanted to? Were there new products that I launched? Were there new ideas that I capitalized on? Anything and everything on both a personal and a professional level. Take the time to think it through and appreciate the wins that you have already put on the board. I spend 30, 45 minutes doing that to get in the right frame of mind. Second thing is goals. All right. Now, we want to set some goals here for the upcoming year. We don't want too many. My focus, usually I want 3 to 5. Now, there's a couple things that I think about with goals. One is, can I create a meta goal? In other words, can I create one goal that basically serves as a forcing function or creates constraints for other goals? So a lot of people put like a top line revenue goal, and that's good. What happens if you hit that goal and you've lost your ass because you're not making any money? Maybe a bottom line profit goal is a better goal or something to complement the top line goal. Another example may be when it comes to fitness or health or something like that. Some people do a weight goal. I personally prefer things like a body fat percentage goal. That's going to force other behaviors. I can get to a weight goal and still not necessarily eat well or be healthy or be in shape, but it's more difficult to do that if I pick a body fat percentage goal. Almost by default, that forces the weight goal, but I also have to improve my eating habits. I have to improve my overall lifestyle. So it forces other decisions and other goals into that one goal. Now, those are actually goals that I'm going to use this year. I'm going to use a top line with a bottom line goal. I'm going to use a body fat percentage goal. And then I'm also going to use a family day on Sunday goal. Now, what a goal like family day on Sunday does for me is it forces other behaviors. Like, so on the business side, it forces me to get really organized. It forces me to plan in advance. It forces me to make sure that everything that needs to be done going into the new week is done by Saturday. Okay, so from a business standpoint, it does that. The other thing is being a good dad, being present, being a good husband, being a good family man is important to me. So I lock that in as a goal, and that's how it influences me to run the business. I want to be a good dad, and I want to be a good husband, and I want to be available on Sunday. Ergo, I've got to organize things in the business to make that happen. Now we've got to look at that and say, who do I need to be in order to achieve these goals? And this is a piece that I think is really powerful. It is really powerful for me to look at the goals that I've got ahead of me and say, who do I need to be as a person? What kind of person do I need to be in order to achieve those goals? Now, I'm not that person today. Otherwise, I would have accomplished those goals already, right? I would have already hit those targets. What I'm doing is I'm aligning my identity and my behaviors and who I am to the things that I need to be doing, the actions I need to be taking to hit the goals that I've set for myself. If I want to hit a certain body fat percentage, what kind of person do I need to be in order to hit those? Well, I've got to be athletic in both lifestyle and exercise, right? Like I'm not going to hit the goals that I have for myself if I just go for a short walk every day and I eat mediocre. Okay. Like the goals that I have in place, I've got to be athletic in both my lifestyle and my exercise. So I'm probably going to dial up the intensity of my exercise. Probably going to change the way that I eat or just rethink how I eat to make sure Sunday at minimum, the weekend are clear. Well, I've got to be organized. I've got to be disciplined with execution. I've got to plan in advance. This is who I need to be to do this. Now, part of this I'm actually stealing from James Clear in Atomic Habits, right? Because he talks a lot about the importance of identity as it's associated with habits. So you can look at something like a dessert dish, and when it comes to you, you can ask yourself, what kind of person does it take? Like, who do I need to be in order to hit the goals that I have? Well, probably the kind of person that says, I think I'll pass on this for now. So we're aligning identity with the goals that we have. And don't skip this. We're actually going to come back to this here in just a minute. The fourth thing we want to do, we want to say, how am I going to measure this, right? These goals are great, but how am I going to track my progress? How am I going to know when I achieve them? How am I going to know if I'm on track to achieve them throughout the year? Well, what I do is I just create a scoreboard. I look at the things that I've decided are goals to me. I create a quantitative metric or a way to measure clearly whether I've done it or I'm making progress towards it. And I get those into a spreadsheet. I put them into a Google Sheet. Looking at top line revenue, I'm going to put daily sales, okay, on one row. For bottom line profit, I'm going to look at monthly profit numbers, okay, and I'm going to put those in monthly. For body fat percentage, I'm going to put that in every day, right? Just going to plug that into the spreadsheet. And to know if I did family day on Sunday, well, that's pretty binary. I'm going to put yes or no. I'm going to get this all plugged into a spreadsheet. I'm going to make it really easy for me to have a scoreboard throughout the year. Now that you've got that scoreboard, we need the fifth thing. We need to execute. And this is why things like resolutions like that usually don't have scoreboards. You usually don't start thinking like, who do I need to be in order to hit these? You don't go through the next level of the process that it takes to actually achieve these things. So how are we going to execute? I'll tell you how I do it, and it works really well for me. What I do is every day I update my scoreboard. Okay. So for the things that are daily metrics, boom. For anything that's weekly or monthly, I time block it. Then I make sure that I'm going to plug that in on the right cadence. So every day I'm going to update my scoreboard. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that list of who do I need to be in order to hit these goals? Like what kind of person do I need to be in order to achieve these targets? And I'm going to look at that every single morning. I'm going to update my scoreboard. I'm going to reflect on the 8 to 10 to 12 things that I said, this is the kind of person I've got to be. This is the standard that I've got to live up to. This is what I've got to do. And that's going to help me make sure that every single day I've got it top of mind, refreshed, and remembered who I've got to be throughout the day. That is going to anchor me for how I'm going to make decisions and what my behaviors are going to be for the rest of the day. That becomes a habit. So we've got gains, remembering your wins and the progress that you've made. We've got goals, determining where you want to go, like what is the year ahead? Where do you want to end the year? Then we say identity. Who do I have to be? What kind of person do I have to be in order to achieve those goals? Then we set up the scoreboard. Then we execute consistently. This is the process that I use. It takes me about 2 hours, 3 hours to go through the entire thing. I get this locked in. I get this done. This becomes my operating system for the next year. Now, when I get to the next year, probably going to reflect on some of this and the scoreboard and the goals that I had. Those are going to be the beginning of the gains for the next year. And I'm going to reset, reevaluate, and I'm going to stack good behaviors, good habits, and everything that I want to be on top of each other. This is how you go from empty resolutions to goals that you can actually accomplish and things that you can actually execute. I hope it's actionable for you. I hope you use this or something like it to make the year ahead a kick-ass year for you, and you end the year exactly where you predicted that you would come next December. Hope this has been helpful. If you have a different way of doing this, I'd be really curious what your operating system is or your goal setting mechanism. I'm always looking for new ways to improve. So if you have a better system or some alternatives, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to check them out.